Can you care for dementia at home? How many of you have wondered whether it is actually possible to care for dementia at home? I used to believe that ultimately, if you or a loved one was diagnosed with dementia, that you would end up in facility-based care, like a nursing home, a skilled nursing home facility, an assisted living facility, or a memory care facility. How many of you guys have actually wondered that? How many of you guys believe that if you or a loved one have dementia, you will ultimately need to place them in a facility? In today's video, we are going to answer the question whether you can take care of a person with dementia at home. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Lizette Cloete, and I have a calling or a mission to keep people with dementia at home. Let me tell you a quick story. In 1982, I was sent to boarding school. I was 12 years old. I remember feeling devastated. I remember being scared. I remember not understanding why I needed to go to boarding school. I remember feeling abandoned, and I also remember the feeling and the grief that I had over losing the people who were the closest to me at that point in time, which were my parents. I didn't understand, and it was extremely difficult. I couldn't go home, and I didn't understand why I couldn't go home. Now, I understand that this is a very unique situation. Boarding school isn't something that everybody goes to. However, I would say that most of us probably have had some experience where we have felt these feelings, where we have felt betrayed or abandoned or didn't understand why we couldn't go home. Maybe it was when we were a child and we went off to camp, or maybe it was when a spouse left us and we didn't understand why they left us and why we couldn't have that sense of security that we had before. Or maybe we were children and were abandoned as children, maybe being adopted. There are multiple reasons why people would have these feelings. So I want you to fast forward now to 1993. My husband and I immigrated from South Africa in 1993, and my very first job as an occupational therapist was working in a skilled nursing facility. And have any of you guys ever spent any time in a skilled nursing facility? Have you had a loved one that you've had in a skilled nursing facility that you've spent some time with? If you have, I want you to say, I have. It's okay. I know it's hard to stop a video or in the middle of a video, go ahead and say out loud, I have. But if you have spent any time in a skilled nursing facility or memory care or a assisted living facility with a loved one, I want you to say, I have. So when I started spending some time in facilities, I realized that many of my patients were experiencing the exact same feelings that I had when I was put in boarding school. They felt abandoned. They were scared. They didn't understand why they had to be there. They didn't understand why they couldn't go home. And I realized something. I realized that skilled nursing facilities or facility-based care is just boarding school for old people. But thinking that ultimately people with dementia will end up in a skilled nursing facility really isn't your fault, and it wasn't my fault. I really didn't understand any better. I had grown up, and what I mean by grown up, I had grown up as an occupational therapist in the medical model. And the medical model believes that ultimately, if you have dementia, you will likely need facility-based care. How do I know that? Where do I see it? I saw it when I worked in acute care, where our jobs as physical therapists or occupational therapists or nurses is to be a clearinghouse and decide this person can or cannot go home, or this person needs to go to this facility because the level of care that they need in our opinion, is deemed too much for a family care partner or family caregiver to do at home. And so the medical model, your doctors, the nurses, the therapy department, we are not trained, we are not set up to think about what it is that we can do to keep people with dementia at home. Well, over the past several years, I have come to a radical conclusion that it is the best thing that we can do for a person with dementia to keep them at home. I believe, skilled nursing facilities have only been around for the last 100 years or so. This is a relatively new phenomena that it is only possible to keep somebody with dementia in a facility and that we cannot keep them at home. I believe that we have been taught a lie. And my job and my mission is to help anybody who is committed, say I commit, anybody who is committed to keeping a person with dementia at home. I commit with you to keep them at home. This journey that we are taking together is going to be with the sole purpose of helping keep people with dementia at home. So how do we do this? So back to the question, can you keep a person with dementia at home? Yes, you can keep a person with dementia at home. You just have to have a plan. And unfortunately, what I have noticed over time is people wait too late to put that plan in place. So what I invite you to do is watch this video series where we're going to discuss what kind of plan you need to put in place so that you become proactive in your loved one or your own dementia journey instead of just being reactive to everything that's going on around you. My hope and my wish for you is that you join me on this journey. And as I end all of my broadcasts, the Lord bless you and keep you, and I will see you in the next video.